appear now. Okay, going live now. And then it should appear on the event page. Should appear on the event page. Yes, I see something happening. It's
Okay.
live now. It's time to share. Share.
Yo.
And we're live. All right, welcome everybody.
Yeah, you need to bring your mic.
Okay, yes, we're live. Welcome to another session of City Music Live, where we bring you great music, interviews, interesting products, awesome guests. My name is Ying Long. Thank you for joining us. And today we're very thrilled to bring you another great show with a very exciting group of passionate and amazing electronic music gurus. That's how I would call them. And they're wearing multiple hats and roles in the name of great music. Okay, so a little introduction about us, City Music. If you're joining us for the first time, We are City Music, and we are retailer and distributors of many great musical instruments and audio brands, including Ableton, which is the highlight of today's live stream. And our team of passionate and fun people here have been providing great musical and audio solutions to music lovers since 1968. So do follow us on our social media at City Music SG for more information, and also visit our website citymusic.com.sg. So today's live stream, we are also in conjunction with today's live stream, we're offering also a 5% off Ableton Push 2 and Live 11 software to the 1st of August. Don't miss out on this offer. And so visit our website for more details. And before we continue, welcome again to live stream. All right, we are very proud to be hosting this episode of Ableton User Group meeting, and do get your friends to join in, like and share. All right, we welcome a lot more enthusiastic people here to learn from these gurus here. Okay, so back to the main topic. So today we are back with another Ableton User Group Meet hosted by the same Ableton Titans. This is what we call them in the last episode. Ableton Titans. Why Titans? Because these two guys in front of me are the officially certified Ableton trainers in Singapore. All right, and so let me a brief introduction. Today's introduction will be a bit shorter than the last round because you guys have met them before. But nevertheless, so introducing on my right, Ben Ang. Yeah, okay. Ben Ang is an electronic musician, one half of synth pop remix duo Cosmic Armchair, music production instructor and principal tutor at Electronic Music Lab, what they call it EML, at National University of Singapore, NUS, and he teaches electronic music production and performance with Ableton Live, Ableton Push, Max for Live. And on my left, we have Syafiq Halid, who is a sound designer, electronic artist, and the first and youngest Ableton certified trainer based in Singapore. All right, still the youngest, right?
I don't think so, man.
I haven't gotten any younger.
After successfully passing the Ableton certified training program in Hong Kong, he launched Great Culture. Okay, a great initiative to share his experience in Ableton Live with like-minded individuals, and also to promote music technology as a creative tool. So can we have a round of applause for our Ableton Titans, Ben and Syafiq? Oh,
Thank you, Ying, for the amazing introduction.
Right, so welcome back, guys. So this is your third appearance at our Cine Music Live, and we are so honored to be hosting you guys again, and also the Ableton User Group Meet. So how have you guys been?
Hey.
Okay, we're going to share the mic a bit, because if you look at their massive setup here, is going to be very interesting later. So how you guys been? It's been we last met at in January.
Yeah, that's right.
That's when we launched Ableton Live 11.
I feel kind of weird talking when you're behind, so I'm going to turn a bit while still maintaining a safe distance.
We're still trying to maintain our safe distancing here. Yeah, so
we really want to thank. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot to you and City Music for having us here. We're really happy to be here, and I think you've been great hosts for the Ableton User Group Singapore. And today is not just Ableton User Group Singapore, but also the Ableton Asia link, because we have people here from Hong Kong. We say a shout out to Ed. Hi, Ed, from Hong Kong. We've got Ruben dialing in from KL, Ableton User Group KL. We've got Nafiz, who's contributed something from the Ableton User Group in Dhaka. We've also got Lawrence, who's Ableton certified trainer in Jakarta. And we have, of course, our special guest, Jason, who's from the Ableton User Group in Honolulu. So thank you for hosting you by letting us gain this momentum. We've really been able to build up a larger group and of course, all the other folks who are in the chat who will say hi to later.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. And I think we are very honored to be actually part of this great initiative. And each session that we do, we're doing the better, a bigger scale than before. And what about you, Syafiq? How have you been?
I'm good, thank you. Been pretty busy. Surprisingly, gigs are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so been busy doing a lot of projects, rehearsals and sound designing projects. I'll share more later, hopefully.
Mhm.
And overall, yep, still busy teaching in Greek culture.
Awesome.
So again, thank you City Music, Ying and team like Jace, to make time to share the passion of music making through Ableton Live.
So tell us a bit more about this Ableton user group for those who are joining us for the first time. A lot of them knows about Ableton, and maybe I think we should also spread the love to tell them more about what this group is all about and maybe how they can join.
Yeah, the Ableton user group is open to anybody who is using or is interested in using Ableton Live or other Ableton products to make music for production or performance. And we're happy to have everybody share. And in fact, it's not just us, the certified trainers, who are sharing, because it's meant to be a group for everybody, all the users. Unfortunately, because of the things that are happening in the world, we can't get together in person, but we can get together virtually thanks to great hosts like City Music and Yinglung. And we hope that in the chat you can share what you've been doing as well. So don't worry about self-promotion. Go ahead in the chat. Please share links to music you've made with Ableton Live recently, things that you've discovered in Ableton Live. Go ahead and share in the chat. This is the right place to do it. Don't feel shy. Go ahead and put in stuff that you've done, shout outs to one another. And we hope that we can encourage. And the next time we have this in maybe a month plus, that some of you will be able to join us in sharing something that you've got. So
I think this is such a great initiative and a great platform. So we really would encourage more people like-minded guys like you guys to join in the group. And I think they should really be expecting to see a lot of great, exciting content later. So without further ado, all right, I think we would like to pass on the show to the two Ableton giants here, titans. Well, do a reminder again. We are going to have a 5% promotion of Ableton 2 Push 2 and Ableton Live 11 software from today to the 1st of August. So check our website for more details, citymusic.com.sg. So we have a round of applause for Ben and Syafiq. I'm going to pass on the shows to both of them. So I'm going to pass on the mic back to you guys.
Thank you, Ying.
Right.
Thank you so much, Ying. And thank you to everybody who's come on the chat. I'm going to say hi to the people who came on the chat. If you are watching, please say hi in the chat as well. Hi to Irang, first person in. Great. From NUS Electronic Music Lab. Great to see you. Elliot, also Electronic Music Lab alumni. Christy, Electronic Music Lab.
The whole fam is
Represent.
here.
Yay. Vanan, whom I know from Pop Studio Academy, where I also teach. Shout out to Pop Studio Academy. Hey, Vanan, share the link, please. Kyrul, Gerard, we're going to get you on also to share the music that you've been making. And of course, Lawrence is on video. Lawrence in Jakarta is on video, but it's okay. I won't stress our team out here. When afterwards, Lawrence is actually going to share a tip. So, and I'm going to share one Ableton tip as well. But I know we haven't been meeting up for a while, so this is everybody might need a bit of warming up. So feel free, like I said. I know some of you in this chat have been making music with Ableton Live. Share the links, share the stuff that you've done. We're happy to, don't be shy about self-promotion. We're happy to find out what you've been doing with Ableton Live and other Ableton products. So, and those of you who haven't got on board yet, as Ying was saying, City Music's got a 5% discount. So I should ask the people who are here in person, Syafiq, what are these things that you've been working on, man? Sounds interesting.
So I have a gig, a project to respond with a local artist under National Gallery Singapore. So do check out on 14 August.
What is Respond?
So basically, I'm responding to a local artist called Muhammad Din Muhammad. He's a painter, he's a martial artist, he's a sculptor. He does beautiful, amazing work.
Painter and martial artist and
Yeah,
sculptor.
the
Then
best
what do you
thing-
do? You're gonna
No, so we're gonna choose one of his art in the exhibition. So me and my friend Rosmini, another gamelan practitioner, we're gonna collab and do an electronic music and experimentation to Muhammad Din Muhammad's artwork in National Gallery Singapore. So I will share more on my social media, and then another theatre work in one of the local school graduation show, and then hopefully also Esplanade. I'll share all those gigs real soon on my social media. So pretty busy.
yeah, feel free to share your social links in the chat.
Yeah, I will.
Then that's wow, really exciting.
Yeah. What about you, Ben?
Well, my band Cosmic Armchair has a new song on a compilation which was released in Europe. So
Beautiful.
that song, Man or Machine, it has a bit of a new direction for us. It's a bit heavier, a bit darker, and it's available on our website, cosmicarmchair.com.
You
if
released it
anybody
last
goes to
few months ago, right?
cosmicarmchair.com, it was released on the compilation a couple of months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Go check it.
yeah,
Do
check it out. Check it
guys.
out. Made completely in Ableton Live. Even the vocals recorded in Ableton Live.
That's the way.
Yeah. So I invite anybody else who's in this group, like people who might know either from teaching at Electronic Music Lab or Pop Studio Academy, to share anything that you've got. And Lawrence in Jakarta.
You're gonna invite Lawrence now.
Yes. What's up, guys?
Hey man, so
How you
glad that you
doing?
can be with us again.
Thanks for having me back.
So Lawrence, you wanna do a quick introduction?
Yeah, sure.
And then Lawrence, as
yeah.
we know, Lawrence is an Ableton certified trainer in Jakarta, and he's not only teaches, he's also an artist. So he's actually released music under. You can see all the links in the socials in the
Yeah.
event details. And Lawrence is going to share something with us today.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna share my screen here. Okay. All right. So can everyone can see my screen now? Everything's good.
Good. We see
Okay.
you.
All right.
Yep.
So, okay, guys. For some of you that have never heard of me, my name is Lawrence. Lawrence Phillip, that's my full name, but I go by the name Random when I produce my drum and bass. So basically, I'm a drum and bass producer. And one thing that I always find interesting when it comes to music production, especially with drum and bass, is like we always take it a little bit differently than, like, let's say making electronic music like techno or house. Even though, yes, we share a lot of things that are similar. But for example, due to the nature of the music, because our tempo is faster and then our beat is not the standard 4 on the floor. So when we do one thing, which is like sidechaining, for an example, we have to do it kind of like a little bit differently. If you're doing something like 4 on the floor kind of music, where it's as doing sidechain compression is as easy as take your kick drums, run it into a compressor, then use that as your sidechain trigger, then everything will work. But in drum and bass, it requires an extra step because the beat is not like 4 kick drums in one bar, so we have to do a different step. So in here, I'm just going to show you an example. Like this is like my a quick clip that I put together for this session right now. So we're going to take a listen to the bass line right here without a sidechain. So I'm just going to play it. So that's just like a straight up bass line like that, yeah. And then if I put that with my drums, it's just going to start to sound like this. Which the sidechaining that I do in here gives it a bit more of like a nice rhythmic feel. And it just makes it more alive, right? So how do I go about doing this? So I'm just going to stop this. So what I have to do is actually I have to create what we call a Sidechain Channel. And to do that is actually quite easy in Ableton. And that's one thing that I love about Ableton is how flexible and how easy it is to create your own routing for any signal that you want. So in this particular one, I have to create this one that's called
Lawrence, sorry,
Yes.
I have to pause you. I think the
Mhm.
comment saying that they can't hear the music.
Yeah.
Okay, let's troubleshoot that quickly.
Sorry,
Okay.
I think it's me. I think I need,
Okay.
Thanks,
I need
Irang,
to do that.
Vanan.
All right,
All
man.
right.
This is good. This is what a user group does. You guys are
Exactly.
listening out,
Thanks.
right?
Thanks
This
for
is-
letting us know.
This
Right?
was all planned. It's all planned,
Yeah.
right? To test whether we got
Can we, Lawrence, can you
test it out
explain that
again?
again? In case, they missed the first part.
With the music.
Yes.
Okay, so
wait.
so what I'm trying to show you guys is like how to do sidechaining when your music is not 4 on the floor bass like house music or electronic. Yeah, so in here I'm just gonna play the bass, and please do let us know if you can hear it. So this is the bass line
Yep.
that we have.
Give us a
Which is
thumbs
just
up.
which is just so
Let's wait
that's
for them to
just
reply.
yeah. So
They got
that's
sound
just like
Okay,
sound,
can.
right?
Thank you.
Sound, okay, yeah, okay, can. Okay, phew.
whatever.
It works. Yeah.
It
Thanks,
works.
Lawrence. Yep,
Okay.
Yes,
yep.
it works. It works.
Yeah. So that bass line, as you see, is just basically a simple bass line. It's just a one whole note with RPG in it. But it just sounds kind of boring, right? When I put it together with the drums, it's going to start to sound like this. So what you hear is there is actually with the sidechain, when the drum plays now on the bass line, you have like a nice rhythmic feel to it because the bass line is actually being compressed on certain part by the drums. So how do I do that? If we're gonna try to do like something as simple as like a regular sidechaining, what we have to do is just go to the bass, took a compressor, and then turn on the sidechain right here, and then all we have to do is just go to our drum kits and then find our kick drum like this. If that's a house or techno, that would work. If I play that, it's gonna sound like this. But if you hear that, the problem is it's only ducking during the kick drum, but the snare drum, it's not ducking. So it's not that simple. So we have to do an extra step. So what we have to do is we have to actually create a channel that usually I just call it a sidechain channel. So how do I do that? So this is how I set it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new audio track. So like this, or I can just do Command T to create a new audio track. And I want to create two, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take audio one. Let's name this kick. And then let's name this one snare. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take audio from my drum kit. So right here, I'm going to take my Ultimate DNB kit, that's the drum kit that I have. And then on the right underneath it, I can select specifically which channel from that drum kit that I want to be used as the trigger. So in here, I'm going to use my kick drum. I'm just going to use the pre-FX. Pre-FX means without any effects. So that's like the dry signal, because I don't really care about what sound, because I just need a signal to trigger something. So I'm just going to keep the dry one. So I'm going to kick. So now this is kick. This is going to be the kick drum. If I play this now, the drum. Hold on. You can see if I turn on the monitor right here. Now I have double the kick. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it on auto right now. And then on the second track, I'm going to pick this, go to Ultimate DNB kit again, post mixer, and then right now I'm going to go with the snare. Yep. And then same thing, if I put this together and play it. So now I have the kick and the snare together. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is going to select these together, and I'm going to group them. And then I'm going to name this sidechain. I'm just going to shorten it as SC, which is sidechain. And then one last step that I have to do is go to on the audio too. Right now, it's being routed out to the master, so we will hear it. That's why if I play it right now, you will hear double drums. Yeah. So the drum is playing double. This one and this one come out to the master. To prevent that, now I want to send this to send only, so you won't be able to hear it. Yeah. So now it's just one of the drum. And then now what I have to do is go to my bass, and then go to my compressor, turn on sidechain, and then audio from. Now I just take this SC. Go to my channel right here that I just created. And then this one doesn't really matter. And then one last thing is you want to turn on the EQ, and then you want to set this at 200 hertz because right now the problem is one is a kick drum. The trigger is a kick drum, which has a lot of low content, low energy, low frequency. And then there is the other one is a snare. So if we don't check this at 200 hertz, then we're going to have a different kind of like signal. One is longer because the kick drum have lower frequency. Well, the snare is not. So now by making sure that everything is EQ'd, so it's going to have like practically the same kind of like trigger, similar trigger. So now if I'm playing it together, it's going to start to sound like this. Let's play this with it. Without it, sounds like this. With it. If I play it together with the rest. So that's about it, guys. That's like a quick tip from me on how to create like a sidechain channel.
Can you help us by soloing the bass track and then do a quick on and off?
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Just solo the bass.
Okay.
And then compare it with sidechain or without sidechain.
Okay. Well, okay. Okay. That's good. I cannot solo the drum because then it won't trigger.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But that's if I do it without the compressor. Hold on, I'm sorry. For some reason, this is not. Hold on, let me put it in that one. Hold on, there is a technical issue here. Oh, I know why. That's why. I forgot to solo the Sidechain channel. Okay, so let's listen to it with the Sidechain and without the Sidechain. Okay, this is with the Sidechain. And this is without. Like that. Yeah, so that's a quick way to create your sidechain channel. So what you have to do is basically, in summary, what you do is you combine the kick and the snare, put it together, and then you group it, and that becomes your sidechain trigger. That's about it, guys. It's pretty simple.
Thanks a lot, Lawrence. That was great. All the drum and bass fans in the chat, please say, please give him a shout out, right? Give him a thumbs up in the chat. And that's really interesting, huh? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, something simple, but then I also realized that it really cleans up a lot of the low end energy of the song.
Yeah.
And it gives like a nice rhythmic feel to your bass line instead of straight.
It has more swing to it rather than just a very monotonous bass line. So it's moving up and down. Great.
Okay, great. I'm going to share a bit now, something much more simple than that. So I'm going to share my Ableton screen. And
Anyway, if you guys have any questions for Lawrence, please put it into the chat.
Oh, yeah. And again, we were saying earlier, right? If anybody just came in, if you've got your own music that you've created in Ableton Live, feel free to share the links in the chat. Don't worry, we love self-promotion. Put in your YouTube link, your SoundCloud link, your Spotify link, your whatever, what else? Your TikTok, whatever it is, go ahead and put it in the chat. We're happy for you to share what you got. And we say hi to people who've just joined us. Who's just joined us, Syafiq?
We have Arthur Vincent, Simon. Thank you for joining.
Hi to Aaron from Ableton User Group Hong Kong.
Oh yes, Aaron also.
Excellent.
Very active in Hong Kong.
Aaron, next time next time your turn, Aaron. And Fresco Su, hi, welcome as well. Clint Ching, Electronic Music Lab, good to see you.
Okay.
Lyubomira, hi, great to see you as well. Okay, see if you can hear this.
Okay, now we have Ben sharing his
Can you hear?
tips and trick.
Can you hear this in the stream? Can you hear just a very simple 909 kick drum going on and on?
Nice. You
Okay,
got a thumbs
Elliot,
up.
Crazy, thanks. You can hear this, right? So this is this very simple stuff. This is the most basic thing you could ever think of. Look at this. It's just 4 kick drums and a clap. And I loaded up on a 909 drum kit. And I loaded up an acid bass on my second. Switch it on. So I was trying to think of a way to make this more interesting. And sometimes you might have a loop like this, which is just like needs something, right? It needs something. Okay, let's stop the. By the way, we did sound check with that for half an hour running. It drove us crazy. Let's just try on the acid bass. This is actually a very simple acid bass. But I'm going to use a pack which is actually available for download for anybody who's got the Ableton Live Suite 11. And it's called the Inspired by Nature pack. Inspired by Nature is a set of audio effects, instruments, MIDI effects that use nature, whether it's the patterns by which trees grow or physics, in order to create effects to your audio and effects to your MIDI. Now that sounds really far out there, right? What does physics have to do with the music? Well, I'm going to apply some physics to my acid bass using this MIDI effect called the Bouncy Notes. And I'm going to take in something called the bassline up. What you will see now is that when a note plays, a ball begins to bounce. Can you see the ball bouncing now? When this ball bounces, I'm actually able to change a few factors about the physics of this. Okay, first, I'm going to change the through. If you see my knob on the through, I'm letting the original sound through. I'm going to increase the gravity. When gravity increases on a ball, it starts falling hard. It's falling harder, it's falling faster. I'm going to change the ball itself. I can increase the amount of friction so it doesn't bounce as much. Friction is increasing. I can change the mass of the ball. Or I can make it really small. That sounds more interesting as a bass line. I think I want something more than a bass line. I'm going to duplicate this. And now I've got another track in track 3. I'm going to delete for this one the bass line up. I'm going to bring in another Bouncy Notes preset. And this is a generative Mibu preset. Now this will not only play the note and bounce the note, it's actually going to start randomly making the note bounce back and forth. But when I click on this piano roll, you will see that I can choose different scales. So I could choose pentatonic scales, Phrygian scales. In this case, I've chosen a Mibu scale. What does it sound like? Okay, that's interesting. I was originally in the key of C. So I'm going to make this a C. And this is the range of notes I can play. If I increase the range, I can go really high, or if I just want to bring it down to a smaller range, you'll just stick within the same octave. Or if I change to another scale, like a pentatonic, the tune changes. Back to the Mibu, and I can do other things still, like change all the physics. It's hitting harder. Okay, that's 2 lines of music I've got. But what about that very plain sounding rhythm? I'm going to add another bouncy note, which is specially meant for drums. And this bouncy note has a drum mode on. It's got a drum rack button switched on, which means that it will only play within the range of drum notes. But I'm going to do something different here because I don't want to hear that crash so much. I'm going to draw the block here, and that's going to block off the crashes. So it's actually restricting the amount of crashes I hear. I can change the quantization, so instead of playing every 16 notes, I can play every 8th note. And I can increase the number of voices here. If I increase the number of voices, then I'll hear more at the same time. So what does it sound like if I play them all together at the same time? using Bouncy Notes, I've turned a very simple kick and a simple bass line into some bouncy techno.
Nice, nice. Very basic concept of using the new Live 11's stock effects, the bouncy notes. And then I like how you just put it into bass and then you duplicate another bass. And then both are using different settings and parameters. And then they're like interlocking with each other. Nice, nice.
Thanks, Syafiq.
So
we're going to share one more thing, which is a video that was sent to us by Nafiz from Dhaka.
we have interesting comments. Some say like acid balls. Feel like I'm in an underground vampire nightclub right now with all these TO3 and 919 sounds. That's from Tani Reng. Boss fight type beat. Yep. So yeah, you can enjoy that in Live 11. Only in Live 11.
Shout out to Jay who's joined us. Shout out to Nicholas. Yeah, Bouncy Notes is great. Aaron says acid balls. Christy, yes, why not techie, right? Yeah. Okay, Nicholas likes the inspired by nature devices.
Yeah.
We are now going to share a video that was sent to us by Nafiz from Dhaka. Because of the time difference, it's kind of tough for him to be joining us, but we are so glad that he can share this with us.
Thank you, Nafiz.
Afternoon, whoever is listening from different parts of the world. Thank you so much for inviting. It's been a pleasure, but I'm in a very weird time zone, so I thought of recording this earlier and sending it to Ben. It's a pleasure to be part of this, and I'm going to just show something very simple and how you can still build on this experiment. So the rudimentary idea here is that I'm taking a very simple drum kit and using an arpeggiator to access the different notes that lie here within. And I'm also putting in a couple of effects such as spectral time, overdrive, redux, etc. And if we turn them off, and the LFOs, just to kind of automate a couple of these things. Of course, you can draw in automations, but I prefer to use LFOs. It's the sense of unpredictability that comes in. So the dry signal kind of sounds like something like this. I just drew out a couple of notes. Let's say we do the same, and yeah. So what it does is it takes one of these notes, let's say this perk note, and then it accesses the arpeggiator kind of pushes it to access different kinds of notes, as you can see here. So this is the dry one, and if we add in the signal chain, which also have, say for example, there's some bit crushing going on here, so unpredictability, overdrive, and so it's kind of giving some texture to the sound. And why don't we go ahead and record a couple of bars to this. So the first one is just recording the audio sample directly. It's resampling from the whole kit. This is something that's taking the sample, this sample section, and taking all the notes, because the arpeggiator is triggering different kinds of notes throughout the spectrum, so it's taking in all those notes and generating those notes essentially. But what you can do if we stop in this thing, as you can see, this note, loads of different notes have been accessed, and those are printed here. And you can put in a sampler. What I did, I took the click noise, and let's see how that all sounds. what it's doing is essentially it's taking in all the different points from the sampler and just triggering them. It's a cool artifact. I kind of like it. And this is kind of a ditto copy of what we were listening to. So one trick could be to kind of reverse them to get some ambient effects. I like these reversal effects. Yeah. So there you go. And when you play it back with this, it's got some more texture to it. And if you, for example, this is just a simple beat. Of course, you can add sidechain and those kind of effects for a better mix. These don't have any compressors or anything on, so it's just raw sound that you hear. And of course, you can mix it up with another drum pattern that I use for this. And of course, these are also triggering at different chances and velocities. So what's happening is that you generate a whole different kind of sound texture. So yeah, you could of course put in audio samples here and use follow actions to generate different kinds of pattern. Maybe a lot of the same results, but here you get the audio clip itself as an export and the MIDI notes, which you can assign to other kinds of things. So I use a lot of these kind of resampling techniques to get certain bits. Of course, a lot of it is not usable because it's randomly generated. A lot of it is not that great, but you can chop out certain sections and you can then put it into your production. So that kind of enriches and makes it more of your work, your signature. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Cheers.
Wow.
Wow, amazing, beautiful concept there. Something that I totally dig with. So yeah, so basically what Nafiz did was very basic concept of experimenting with appreciator, random notes, right? Sometimes all of us get really bored with repetitive pattern. Regardless of any Ableton Live version, right? You can still practice whatever Nafiz is showing earlier. And yeah, and then he re-record the MIDI notes, put in a lot of audio signals, and then he reverse it, some of the drums, and then he also random the artifacts of the ambient static sound. It becomes like I don't know, it feels like
I love that groove.
Yeah, it's a
got
beautiful sound
feeling,
design
man.
there.
It's got a great feeling.
I love
Nafiz, thanks so much.
Thank
when
you so much.
When you watch this later on, when you when you hit your correct time zone, thanks so much for sharing this. Wow, that sounded great. So now, the moment you've all been waiting for, right? The moment you've all been waiting for is to welcome our special guest, Jason Umino, also known as Wunderfish, from Honolulu.
Woo.
Jason,
Hey guys.
thanks so much for joining us. I had such a great time in Honolulu when your Ableton user group Honolulu hosted me, and I'm so glad that we are able to have you on our Ableton user group, not only Singapore but also Ableton user group Asia Link of Dhaka, Dhaka, Hong Kong, Jakarta, KL, and Singapore. Did I miss out anybody?
No.
So thank you for joining us, Jason.
Aloha, thanks for having me. And thanks for naming off all of the different cities that you guys are representing. I'm happy to be an honorary member of, or having the Honolulu user group an honorary member of the Asia link. Ben, we had him speak when he was rolling through town at one of our meetings, and it was super insightful. So I'm super happy to be here. I wish I could be with you guys in person. Singapore and KL are two of my favorite cities. I love Hong Kong. I just haven't been to Dhaka, so maybe I'll tour through there one of these days and be able to meet you guys in person. Thanks, Syafiq, for everything. I hope to meet you in person as well.
Pleasure.
So, today, I was just going to talk about my workflow. I just released an album last month called Moonlit Orphans. So thanks in advance to those of you who may have listened to a few of the tracks. And today I just wanted to discuss something that might sound more like housework than actual Ableton Live usage. I wanted to talk about my daily routines and some of my organizing strategies, because I found that these types of workflows was key in actually producing the album. And, you know, as with all workflows, everybody works differently. So, you know, it's not one size fits all, but I just wanted to give you some insight to how I work every day. And hopefully you'll find some good tips. So I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this book here called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I read this several years ago, and I think it changed my creative process a lot. It's essentially a guidebook and a weekly exercise book to help spark your creativity. And in the very first chapter, she introduces this concept of morning pages. And so I started doing that, which is essentially the first thing you do when you wake up is you roll out of bed and you write 3 pages freehand. Basically a stream of consciousness. And the whole goal of it is just to show up every day and, you know, write something. Really a judgment-free zone, and you could write down whatever you want, even if it's, I don't know what to write, you just keep writing that. And what you'll find is you'll start showing some creativity in those pages. But for me, you know, as a musician, as all of you guys are, I wanted to see if I can apply this to my music and my daily routine. So I stopped doing the written part, the written page part, and I've applied it to waking up first thing in the morning. I launch a live session, and you know, I'll spend between 20 minutes to 30 minutes. You know, you wake up 20 to 30 minutes earlier than you normally would, and you use that time to make music first thing in the morning. And I found that to be indispensable in creating some of that content that you hear on the album. Because when you think about it, if you're doing it every day or even every other day, but say you do it every day, that means you have 30 tracks per month. You know, just, I mean, they're not tracks, they're sketches. But say like 2 of them are ones that you would want to finish up because you like the vibe, you like certain elements. That means you would have, you know, 24 tracks to finish per year, which is enough for an album or 2, right? And so this is actually how Moonlit Orphans was born. All of the tracks started off as simple ideas in the morning. And let me share my screen. I wanted to give you an idea of what a morning template would look like. I think it's important, you know, especially if this is the first thing you're going to do in the morning, to have it a nice, lightweight, quick launching session. And I'll just give you a quick tour. You see I have a drum track. You might notice that I have an instrument track as well. I can never choose which one my favorite drum machine is, but I love the CR78. and of course the 808s and the 909. So can you guys hear that at all? So
Yep.
here's a quick little tip. You know, if you have an instrument rack and you MIDI map it, you can actually kind of go through and try out all your drum machines on the same track. So there's a 909 over here. And then this one's my TR-8S. So this includes the some hardware too. So this is actually an external instrument. And I'm able to pound out a beat on some hardware. So I essentially have 4 choices to work with. I've got a little bass track here that's connected to a Moog over here. This is also an external instrument, but it also has a chain selector of some Ableton instruments. I've been into acid house for a while, and so if you listen to the album, you'll see that it's very influenced by the acid house of the 90s. So I've got the TD3 here, which is a TB303 clone from Behringer, and I'm able to, so I'm able to create some acid bass lines all through push, because it's all, everything in the studio is connected. And then same with the Pro 1. Ooh, that's more like a bass. This is from a Pro 1 clone as well. And I've got some pads and everything. But okay, so you see it's very simple to just, now you wake up, first thing you do, you launch Ableton Live. You might maybe make a cup of coffee and you can just sit here for 20 minutes. Again, it's like a no judgment, like you're not gonna release this anytime soon. So you just make music for yourself. And if you do this every day, you kind of get into this habit of making kind of cool things. But I will say that, you know, like all artists, we're not inspired all the time. And for me, at least, being inspired in the morning is a difficult thing to do. And I'm glad that the rest of the Asia Link members kind of talked about some random generators. I definitely want to try that out. Try the bouncy ball one out, and a lot of those techniques out within my morning page. But I've got a few tools that help, that very similar to the bouncy ball sequencer. When inspiration is lacking, I can turn to some of these tools to kind of kickstart that creativity. I'm just going to go through a few of them. Some of them are paid. Can you guys see that? Okay, so I see that the window isn't showing my plugins, but here, I'm going to quickly share my full screen. I'm going to share, let's see, the entire screen. Okay, so this should work. Oh, I guess you can't see it. So I guess, well, let's see, let me watch this again. Okay, here we go. So this is a radio app. I think it was developed by Plugin Boutique. It's pretty cheap. I think I picked it up for 99 cents. And let me just turn on this track. So this is a program that scans internet radio stations. And as you'll see, there are so many, you can have your own user presets, but there's a radio directory and it goes across many different genres, more than I could even imagine. And spoken word, and I'll show you this uncategorized one. I mean, there's just so many different streaming radio stations out there that you can choose from. And it's really easy to, you know, wake up. And so this is being streamed live right now. This is one of my favorite stations. It's called Old Time Radio. And the reason why I like it is that they use mostly public domain samples. I'm not a lawyer. I think Ben might have gone to law school. So yeah, there might be copyright issues, especially when you're sampling, as with any tool. But I use this a lot, this specific radio station as well, on the album. So you'll hear some vocal chops. And oh, I'm seeing I'm not getting audio from Ableton. Can you guys hear this? Are we good? Okay. So the great thing about this app is that you can select a section that you particularly liked, and now it's saved in your saved clips, and it's as easy as dragging and dropping. So now we've got that exact clip in there, and from here, you can add effects, give it an interesting vibe, or better yet, you can throw that sample into simpler and really mangle it as you would want. Let's slice it up and you can use some of the techniques like the arpeggiator technique, or add a random sequencer.
Jason.
Oh yes.
Sorry. Can you put the Listen To plugin on the master channel of your, instead of sharing the audio into Streamlab, share from your Ableton Live?
Oh, sure. Okay. Oh, I see. It might have been when I shared my screen. Let me share this again.
So you share.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that we've seen the plugin, can you share your Ableton Live again?
Oh, sure. Okay. Oh, I get it. Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Hear it from your.
All right.
From
so
the master
let's
channel, right?
see. Can you hear this now?
Not a very nice person, Simon Ferret, but
there we go.
You think he's
Nice.
Everyone else in the Facebook Live, can you hear him?
Are we good?
Plugin?
Jason, just a little request.
Yes.
You have a room light, if you can.
Oh, I do. You know what? It's now 7 o'clock here.
Sunset
Okay.
now.
Here we go.
Yes,
There's
thank
a sunset. If I had a mobile device, I would show you because we're facing west. Okay, much better.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. I like working in the dark anyway. So.
We can see that.
Are you facing the beach?
I'm not facing the beach, but it's a short walk away. So maybe I'll go hang out there afterwards for an evening stroll.
Wow, that's a beautiful beach.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell people, right? People know.
You went there?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So okay, you guys saw the radio app, and so what I did was I selected a section. It was just a random section, and you just drag and drop it into an audio track. In this case, the audio track is called samples. And you could also, just like any clip, you could just drag and drop it into a simpler. So I'm just gonna play a few notes, and it's not poetry or anything, but once you start adding some effects, I'm just gonna use my return tracks and add a let's see, an arpeggiator to this one, and let's see what that sounds like. So you get some kind of cool vocal chops. And all of this is just being done from streaming radio stations. There are a couple of other tools that I like, and it looks like I can't really, oh, this one is in a pop-out screen. I told you that I've been into Acid House recently. This one by Skinnerbox, which is actually available from Ableton, is kind of a random sequence generator. So I'm just going to turn it on. So right now, this is running through MIDI. And now I can kind of go into my hardware and kind of tweak some of these parameters and record that line. The cool thing about this one is that you could convert them into MIDI clips. and you'll see that you'll have the actual sequence here. And now is when you can start using some of the new tools in Live 11, like scale, to make sure that you're in the right key. I'm a big fan of D minor. I don't know why. But now you could just kind of go through and make sure all of these clips are in the right key. Okay, it's not poetry, but let me create a quick 4 on the floor. Okay, let me make sure this is the right one. And I'm gonna just use a 909 because we're doing some acid house. And I'm just gonna do a very simple 4 on the floor. Maybe I'll put in some hi-hats. Where's the hi-hat? Okay, here we go. Oops. So right now I'm just pressing my Option key and I could drag 16th notes across or whatever your resolution is. So I'm gonna turn off, well, let's play the acid. Okay. Not sure how that sounds to you guys, but
good.
Got it.
Squelchy says Irung in the chat.
Okay, great. So I also wanted to another great tool that helps with inspiration. If we've got this basic 4 on the floor beat. Have you guys talked about or heard of this new velocity and chance from Live 11? I love this on just 16th note hi-hats. Where, well, first let's do this. I'm going to change I'm going to give a range of velocity. Right now I'm holding the Command key on Mac, and I can drag this up or down. And when we play the beat, we'll just solo out the beat. Okay. So now you see that, I'm not quite sure. Oh, here we go. My kick drum wasn't on the right one. Okay, let's hear this again. Okay. So we got a simple 4 on the floor beat, but it's still kind of straight. I don't really like that whole pattern of the 16th notes. So what I can do now in this new chance window, turn that down. Might have recorded something. Okay, let me get back to my drum clip. So if you open up the chance window down here, now you can select, say, that hi-hat pattern, and you can make it fire off by chance. So right now it's at 100%, so you're going to hear the 16th notes going. But if I pull this down to say, let's say 63%, now when we hear the beat, it'll give a little bit more variety. So as you can see, I mean, I love this because, especially in the morning when I'm doing my morning pages, I don't have to think about, making the perfect hi-hat. I can start using some of these new tools in Ableton, and I can use random sequencers and generators. And I love how they included a lot of new ones in Live 11. So if you haven't upgraded, I think the update, at least for me, is worth it just for those new random generators. Couple of other things, you can use LFOs to kind of give some movement, but I just picked up this H9 Eventide effects box. And I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but there are 52 different effects algorithms that are included. But the best thing that was included in that box was this deck of 52 playing cards. And this is something that I do in the morning as well, is I will just shuffle these things up. And in fact, when I first bought it, I said, I'm gonna learn this box in 52 days just by concentrating on one a day. So, coming up with something random like this one is the vibrato, the vibrato card. So giving yourself some restraints also, I think, helps with creativity. And this also prompted me to create, I'm gonna share my spreadsheet. Hold on one second, let me move this up. And I wanted to share this with you, the actual file itself, because I found that this was a pretty, let's see, pretty valuable thing for me. Wait, that's not it. Can you guys see anything?
Hold on, yeah. I think Jess is changing the page.
Wait. Sorry, wrong one. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's the right one. Okay. So I've got this live random devices. You guys see that? So this deck of cards prompted me to create this spreadsheet. And again, I'll share the link with you so you guys can use it. It's helped me out a lot to learn a lot of the new Ableton Live devices that I had never heard of before. So it will randomly generate an Ableton live instrument, audio or MIDI effect or pack, as well as the same items for Max for Live. And I also put in a list of my plugins and key and scale, because I don't know if you guys have played around with just some of these scales, but I have found a lot of inspiration just trying out new scales. And I'm sure there's a more elegant way to do this, but if you just copy and paste in this blank sheet over here, it will randomly generate something for you. So maybe tomorrow I'm gonna work on impulse. I'm gonna use the delay and work in B minor. So again, these restraints kind of help you stay focused, especially when you have 20 or 30 minutes in the morning to work.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, thanks. And then,
how long do you take to program or to formulate this Excel sheet?
Oh, this sheet?
Yeah.
Well, I looked up, Google is your friend always. So I just looked up the formula to randomly generate a device from this list. You'll notice, if you guys are Excel nerds out there, all I did was hide these rows. So I'm going to unhide them and you'll see a list of everything.
Yo, wow.
So the cool thing is,
we shared a link to it in the chat. Those who want to get it, there's a link to his spreadsheet in the chat. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Sure. So I would unfold those cells, and then you could put in whatever you want, and even add some elements. Some of you guys, I'm sure everybody has a different suite of plugins that they use. But anyways, that's kind of the behind the scenes.
Wow.
And then, actually, while I'm at it, I wanted to talk quickly about organization. I'm not going to save that because that was not poetry. Let me share my screen again.
Jason, have you heard about oblique strategies card?
Yes, that is.
And Brian,
By Brian Eno. Yeah, and actually I shouldn't credit Eventide for that because I had heard about the oblique strategies and yeah, I want to get into it more. There are a couple free apps on the App Store. But yeah, do you guys use that?
I use it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Brian Eno, and yeah, that's I don't know, Syafiq, if you wanted to talk about the oblique strategies card deck.
Yeah, so basically, Brian, invented this card-based method where they will give you a random word, something like today. I think there's a total of 100 cards. So if you draw any of the random card, we'll just say like minimalist. I can't remember exactly, or maybe work in reverse, or all those random tags that it will help you to do your music or approach your daily life differently. So there's even an Apple app for that. So do check them out, man. Oblique strategies.
Yeah, so this is an example. Remove ambiguities and convert to specifics. They're pretty obscure sometimes, but I think they give you, oh, this is kind of an interesting one. So only one element of each kind.
Yes.
So that sometimes they're deep and you have to interpret them. But yeah, I want to start using this more. But yeah, we should talk about that later. I'm interested on how you guys do that. And then here's my here's my mess of of everything that I've done. So let me go back real quick. So I've been doing this daily routine now since October 2019. So not for a super long time, but and this is just how I organized it. So for 2019, I've got every single daily track that I've done. It looks like an Excel spreadsheet, but the thing that I like about putting everything in one live set, and this is what's great about the session view of live, is that you can use it kind of as an organization tool to put a lot of your favorite clips. And in my case here, I'm putting in all of my daily sketches. And I don't have the plugin on the master on this session, which is probably a good thing because again, most of what I make in the morning isn't ready for prime time at all. But what you can do is, because you have everything in one session, you can go through and listen. Go back. I wouldn't listen to it even the next day. I would wait a month and kind of go back and listen to some of the tracks that you might have produced or some of the ideas, and then just highlight the ones that that you particularly liked and put them in its own column. And in fact, this column right here is the album. This album Acid Techno Storyboard. And I found this drag and drop method a really good way to come up with an album story or an EP's story or even a song story, right? You can listen to what each track sounds like within the context of the other ones. And now you're starting to get an idea of the tracks that you want to work on and to finish up. So, out of the 365 daily ones, I found 12, or actually over here I have 15. A lot of the tracks didn't make it to the album because again, I'm using this to kind of see if the tracks fit together, if they would blend together, if they sort of tell a story together. And included in that, actually, let me share my screen real quick. Are we good on time?
Sure, we got.
I'm just going to show you what else I included in that same link that Ben will send you, or I can also drop it into the link, into the chat later on. But right here is, I say that I take 20 to 30 minutes, but every morning to do this, but I think it's also important to also write down some notes. Sorry about that. Sounds like there's a fire. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, you all can hear that.
I thought that was part of your example, some awesome.
That's my drop. That's a drop right here. Here we
Now it's
go.
getting louder.
You got a cool Doppler effect. It almost sounds like a fire engine going past your house.
That was all done with analog.
LFOs.
LFOs. So this is what my July spreadsheet looks like. And I've included a little, an example of it, so you can use this. I can't take credit for this because this is based off of Brian Funk, the guy who hosts the music production podcast. He's an Ableton certified trainer out of New York. And he's a big advocate of January, where you create a song beginning to start, or a jam from beginning to end, and post it every day throughout the month of January. And he came up with this spreadsheet where you could kind of write some of your notes. Because I think it's important to also note that, if you have several different parts in your morning jam, you might hate the drum track, but you made like some beautiful arpeggiator with a great preset that you tweaked. So you want to have kind of a log of that, so that when you go in and start thinking, oh, okay, I think these are the tracks that might fit together and I want to finish them, that you have some notes, because you can't remember. I can't remember anything I did even last week. So having a little spreadsheet with the field for notable elements. I just give a quick 2-line description. Let's look at this one. Oh, I was experimenting with Bellabat's Techno Echo tutorial on the TR-8S. And so, you can kind of go back and say, oh, that's what I was thinking at that point. And then finally, I think that a good field to have is this rating from 1 to 5. I mean, it's nothing set in stone, but most of mine are 1s. But now you can go through and sort this list by the ones that you were most proud of during that month, and you can go back and now you have even more focus on what you might want to continue on, and even more importantly, what you would want to throw away. So, essentially that is how I was able to finish the album. It was going back and looking at those daily journals, essentially, that I did during 2020. And then I spent the first 3 months of the year just finalizing and finishing up and coming up with a flow and a story. And then, of course, the thing that takes the most time is finishing the tracks. So, I don't want to take anything away from that. But I think, your mindset is different when you're finishing a track. You could use more of your technical mind. Whereas in the morning, I just want to, put down how I'm feeling, and really embrace the creative part of writing music.
Nice. Wow.
Thanks so much, Jason. That
really
was
mind blown,
fantastic.
man.
You can see all the likes and the hearts in the chat. I think a lot of people really found this very, very helpful. Thanks so much. If anybody's got anything, oops, I dropped this. Yeah, go ahead and say in the chat. Thanks so
Personally,
much.
I think this is by far the best concept or idea to really archive and to document all your work from the Ableton Live through the spreadsheet, and then from there you can filter the best work and then put it into a serious work like your EP or your album. So, yep, I'm inspired now to organize.
So am I. I think I've got work to do, man. This is great.
Or you mean play? This shouldn't be work, right?
Work, play.
I didn't say work. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, lots of people liking this, Irang, Christy, Aaron. Yeah, lots of great. Rishi says mahalo.
Oh, hey,
Irang has
Rishi.
shared his. Rishi is from?
Rishi's from Honolulu. He's part of the group.
Hey, great.
Glad,
Okay.
glad you were able to make it.
And at my prompting, Irang has shared his January links because he was very active during January. So he's got his links in the chat. And I really also want to just remind anybody who's got stuff that you've been doing in Ableton Live, share it in the chat, right? And this is an Ableton user group. We'd love to hear from you, not just us. That's the great fun about things like this. Wow, Jason, that was great. Thanks so much for sharing.
There's one question from Ed. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah.
Ed is asking, can we hear the album? So how can our listeners find you or connect with you or check out your album, Jason?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for listening. You could just go to wunderfish.com, and that's Wunderfish with a U, so WUNDERFISH. And then I've also put it on all the streaming platforms. So yeah, thanks for listening. And if anybody is in Honolulu, please look me up. I love meeting musicians of all different genres and walks of life. So if you guys can make it out here, it'd be great. And again, one of these days I'd like to come back out to Southeast Asia and meet you guys all in person.
Absolutely. We have, we're going to take you to lunch, dinner, stuff you so full that you're not going to be able to fly back.
And the food in Singapore, especially, but also in KL and Indonesia is some of my favorites. So I'm going to take you up on that.
Hey, all right. So anybody got questions for him? And Lawrence is back on the camera. What did you think, Lawrence?
Oh, we can't hear Lawrence.
Lawrence.
1 sec.
I think that was really great, Jason, because with me, since I'm actually really active on Instagram, so I always make like a jam video every day, and I never save any of them. So I thought about it, it's like, wow, I should have used your method. So keep everything in one project, and I can always go back and use it for some material in the future, right? Because I thought about it. I have so many material that I could have turned it into at least a finished song if I didn't just like chug it after I did like video for it, But oh well. Better late than never, right? I can start tomorrow.
Start tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It'd be cool to hear some of those. To hear some of those jams. I'm gonna follow you on Instagram.
All right. I already followed you, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great. And we've got a lot of people sharing their own music in the chat as well.
Yep.
Aaron asked, where did the name Wunderfish come from?
Yeah. So my wife, who's in the other room, so that was her. She's an aspiring writer, and she's the one that actually got me into that book, The Artist's Way. When she was growing up, that was kind of her pen name. Like imaginary friend name, when she was really young. So she said, this is, her pen name was Polly Wunderfish with the regular spelling of Wunderfish, but I changed it a little bit to have the U so I can get the right URL, because Wunderfish with the O.com is already taken.
That's an interesting story.
Very simple story there.
That's a really interesting story. Oh, thanks so much for sharing so much with us.
Yep.
I really want to thank City Music also for their hospitality, even though we overran so much, but we had such a great time, and with so many people in the chat sharing as well. So any final things to say from everyone, from our guest all the way from Honolulu, Jason? Any final things you want to say? Then over to Lawrence and Syafiq.
I'm good, man. Yeah. Again, for our listeners or our audience here, if you guys would like to have any Q&As now, we can have like a quick 5-minute session before we wrap up. Yeah.
Otherwise, Lawrence, anything to add before we go?
Can I just self-promote a little bit?
Of
Yes,
course,
please.
come on.
Okay.
Please. Post in
I
the
have
chat
a
all your links.
I have an upcoming single coming out, and that's actually not a drum and bass one. It's gonna be under my real name, Lawrence Phillip. featuring Polly Pumpkins, which is a synthwave artist from Hong Kong. So that's gonna be
okay.
out, I think, in a couple of weeks. Yeah, it'll be on all streaming platforms. So just look me up on Spotify. That will be Lawrence Phillip. So far, I think I'm the only Lawrence Phillip in Spotify, so it's pretty easy to find. Yeah, and also if you're into synthesizer and all this thing, follow my Instagram because every day I upload something to do with synthesizer, like little small jam tips and tricks and all those things. So that's all. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me
Thank you, Lawrence.
today.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Pleasure.
Jason,
No parting words other than, go in and start making art and try and do it regularly and every day. I found that it's helped me, especially, when you wake up in the morning, you sometimes don't feel like doing anything, but if you kind of force yourself to and get in this habit, then I think it's a positive habit, first of all, but you also get a record of how you're feeling because the music will usually reflect that. And yeah, so make music your journal. I mean, you guys are doing it anyway, and it's everybody's passion, as evidenced by everyone on the watching us talk about Ableton Live. So yeah, go forth and conquer. I can't wait to hear everybody's tracks.
great. Thanks so much, Jason. And thanks again to City Music who have hosted us for this session and will also be hosting the next one, which is in September. So stay tuned. In September, we'll be having the next one, as Ed has asked. And there's so many great links. Follow them in the chat. Go and find out what other people in this user group are doing. Feel free to share your own links as well. And if you haven't been using Ableton Live before and you got inspired now, City Music has a 5% sale on, right? 5% discount on right
Yes.
now. So that just leaves us, me and my co-host Syafiq.
Yep. Today I'm just a co-host.
Next-
I'm enjoying every second of this because I'm also overwhelmed with a lot of new informations and tips and tricks or techniques. So thank
But
you,
of
everyone.
course, next time we meet, we're going to want to see some video of the
Sure.
work that you did, the
Yes,
gallery
please.
work. That's exciting, playing at the Esplanade. So great. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks so much to the City Music crew, especially Jace for keeping this stream going.
Yes,
Thanks
Jace.
so much.
Special shout out to
Thanks,
him.
Jace.
Thanks to Ying Long for hosting us. Thanks to everybody for joining us in the chat. And great. See you in September.
Bye bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.